I'm just waiting to be able to add in Rachel from Misty Day. So Rachel is the founder of Misty Day Plant Potions, and I'm so excited to have her come on and do this Facebook Live with me because I get so many clients in clinic having her drinks, right? Because there's so many health benefits to mushrooms that we're all learning about. And the thing I love about Rachel's products as well is she mixes them so that they're really yummy and flavorsome. So you can have the straight mushrooms like reishi, or you can have different ones where she's done a coffee mushroom combo. And for people that don't want to give up their coffee drinks, right, let's at least get some healing nutrients in there with it. And so in clinic, I'll offer them to clients and we're seeing amazing benefits. So I'm super excited to have you come and do this Facebook Live to tell us about your amazing drinks, because as much as I love getting things in via the diet and stuff, we all want a tasty drink as well. And when it gives us nutritional benefits as well, clients are all in, and I'm sold as well in terms of recommending the product. So what made you get involved? What made you come up with these drinks?
Okay, well, I've been in this industry for about 20 years, so it's really showing my age. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear you very well.
I can hear you perfectly. I can add my ear. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. So I've been in the industry for about 20 years or so, and I kind of just was a little bit tired of taking pills and, recommending pills to people all the time. And I kind of wanted to give people a better or an option that they can make a lifestyle change rather than just kind of that pharmaceutical paradigm. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was kind of making dietary supplements for a long time for a company, but I really started kind of tinkering away and making potions and probably 2012, 2013, and yeah, we've been in business since 2016.
So your drinks have been around since 2016?
Yeah.
Wow, I only just discovered them maybe halfway through last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, people, it takes a little while for things to get out there, and it's kind of funny because Auckland's kind of saturated now, but now we're getting a lot more Wellington followers, and I'm going to be down there pretty soon, actually, and I think I'll probably go and do a talk as well, which will really help to generate more interest.
Totally. And what made you decide to make mushroom-based drinks? Like, what was the incentive there?
Okay, so, they've been around for a really, really long time. When I worked for a supplement company, we used to distribute Nature's Way, which is a really old school American brand. And they had this blend of mushrooms, which was pretty amazing. And we had to write all this information about them for consumers and in magazines and things. And I remember writing these articles about medicinal mushrooms and being like, man, why doesn't everybody take these? They're freaking amazing. Like, they're really good for viral infections, particularly immune stimulation,
Totally.
and they have that amphoteric action. So, I kind of got more into adaptogens after that. And then I went to a few shows overseas and saw how big mushrooms were becoming, and you just can't ignore it. So I started bringing them in. I actually met Paul Stamets as well a few years ago, and that was pretty amazing to see him. And I'm a bit of a big fangirl of Paul Stamets. So I think mushrooms will definitely change the world.
And do you like them in terms of obviously the nutritional benefits, but in terms of just being able to get things in via drinks because it's easier for clients, it's a lifestyle thing, like you can still have a nice drink, like it's not like you have to give up coffee and now there's nothing out there. There's good alternatives and it's an easy way to get in.
Yeah, definitely. And also the thing that people don't actually recognize is the fact that when you take a capsule, because I used to make them, when you take a capsule, you can only get 600 milligrams into them. So that's actually not very much. 600 milligrams is like, an eighth of a teaspoon or something. But if you're putting it into a drink, which I am now in my mushroom cup, if you're putting it into
I've got
a drink,
one too.
you can get 2 grams, into you just like that. And the thing is, a lot of them don't have a very gross taste, except for reishi. Reishi's really gross.
No, well,
But
I like
a lot of
reishi.
them are, yeah, reishi's, I mean, for me, maybe it's not for me because I think that your body knows what you really need. Um,
Totally.
it's not for me because I mean, I taste it, I'm just like, ooh, bitter. But chaga, on the other hand, is my spirit mushroom, you know? So,
Really?
um, yeah, yeah, I love it. But I think the thing is that making it part of your daily routine, you know, there's this whole thing, you know, nobody goes on a diet anymore, you know, nobody goes on a diet. People make a lifestyle change. And I think that's the way that I want to push supplementation is that it's away from that pharmaceutical paradigm, which, don't get me wrong, it can be very helpful for acute illnesses and things like that. But I want to move towards people making changes that are easily accessible. I mean, everybody wants a hot drink in the morning, and it's such a great way to get
Definitely.
it in. And I pretty much put it into everything, like food,
Mm.
everything.
Oh, you put it into food as so I'll have all your drinks, but you actually put it into your food as well.
Yeah, I do. So I'm actually working on something a little bit secret at the moment, which will be available, and that is a food-based kind of item, which is medicinal mushrooms. But yeah, put it into raw cakes, put it into pretty much anything you can imagine.
And is there a limit for the person at home just trying this themselves and like starting to have your drinks and your powders? Is there a limit that they can have a day? Like, is there a if they're putting into their food, if they're having the drinks and stuff, is there a threshold?
Hmm. Because they are kind of okay. So most of them are thought of as a food, and so the tolerance is very high.
Okay,
And also, they are adaptogens, and adaptogens tend to be very safe in moderate doses over extended periods of time. Now, they're not all adaptogens, but a lot are. So, look, I've been taking grams and grams of them daily for a long time now, and you know, I've got superpowers. But no, look, I think obviously start small. So, you know, I think I've got recommendations of starting for between a quarter and a half a teaspoon. And, you know, there's no point in using more if you don't have to. So if you're feeling the benefit after a month of just taking that much, then there's no point in taking any more. But I don't think it's going to hurt to have a cup of it and then have it in a sweet treat as well during the day.
and what sort of benefits can people expect to feel after have like I feel extra energy. I know that it definitely boosts my immune system. I've watched clients in clinic literally before my eyes come in coughing and like feeling awful with their flus, and they'll leave and they've already noticed a difference. Like they've pushed out the virus. I've admittedly given them higher doses than half a teaspoon while they've been with me.
Yeah.
But what sort of benefits can people expect to see or start to be aware of in their body?
Okay, so um, obviously all the medicinal mushrooms have different actions, but one thing um, that they all have and that they all have is that they are immune tonics. So they are modulators. So what you should expect to see is a reduction. Now this is really making claims, but a reduction in
Oh,
allergies.
sorry.
That's a
Yeah,
biggie because
I probably put you on the
it helps
spot
to
with that
bring
whole making
down.
claims. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry, it's a video, blah.
Okay.
So basically, because they're modulating, they help to dampen down an immune response that's maybe a bit overactive, and they have to help to bring up an immune response that's maybe a bit sluggish. And they do this, the way that I like to say it is that they train the immune system to be more tolerant to your own body, but maybe more vigilant to things that are on the outside. So more like bacteria and viruses and things like that. So I think immunity is a big one, and I'm going to use myself as a claim here. I haven't been sick in 2 years. Now, I used to be the one that used up all my sick leave every year, and I haven't even had a sniffle in 2 years, which I'm going to put down to medicinal mushrooms for sure, particularly chaga for me. Chaga is, for me, is the immune mushroom. A lot of people like to go down the reishi track, but I think chaga is where it's at for immunity.
And do
But
you think?
and also, sorry.
No, you go. You go. You go.
Oh, and also they all have, most of them have an adaptogenic type action. So that means they help to kind of immunize your body against stress, so that when you have a proper stressor come, then your body knows how to react and not overreact, and it knows how to come back into balance better. So I find that people get less of a big stress response. They might get less things that are associated with stress, so anxiety or low mood or panic type things as well. I've seen that with the mushrooms. Yeah, and I think as well, just a big sense of calm, especially
I
reishi.
agree. And
Mm.
is there a time, can you have these as your before bed drink, like your evening drink?
Reishi, yes. So reishi would be the one that I would recommend before bed. We actually have a formula as well, which is called Moon, which has got ashwagandha in it, which is Withania somnifera. Obviously, it's great for sleep. So that's a reishi blend, great for before bed because it has that calming action. And it has quite a bitter. It is quite a bitter as well, though, so you have to keep that in mind when you're having it. But chaga would be fine as well. It's more of a Jing tonic, so it replenishes Jing, but it isn't stimulating. Whereas cordyceps is probably a bit more stimulating. And lion's mane, I find, gives me a bit of a jingly brain, makes me quite stimulated. So I probably would leave that one till the morning as well. But reishi definitely, and chaga is okay.
And how do people know which one to start with? Is it just a trial and see how it feels in their body, that back to that body awareness? Or is there one that you recommend that lots of people like and do well with?
I always recommend chaga, um, especially because it's not actually a true mushroom. It is in the fungi family, but it's not actually a true mushroom. Like chaga and reishi are both polypores, which means that they're like woody kind of mushrooms. But chaga has, for me, I think it's just because it's my favorite, you know. It's great during winter. It grows in those really cold climates. So you know that it's good for those winter ills. And the thing about chaga is that it has that third eye opening action, which is a little bit esoteric, but I kind of like that kind of stuff. So it's thought to decalcify the pineal gland and open the third eye, which is, you know, second sight and clairvoyance and stuff like that. So I kind of like that one just for the kooky side of it. But a lot of people say chaga and reishi are the best first ones to start with because they're like the king and queen of the mushrooms, and they both have lots of different actions that pretty much could help anyone.
And not that you need to tell us specifically, but are you sourcing your mushrooms from New Zealand? Are they overseas?
No, so this people like worry about this kind of stuff. So basically, we use cultivated mushrooms. So the thing about mushrooms is that in China they've been cultivating them for about 1,000 years. In the Western world, only about 200 years. So they are the best people at cultivating mushrooms. People have a little bit of China phobia, but I think the thing that people have to recognize, they do.
It's
So
true.
you know, I worked sourcing and worked in product development for 8, 9 years prior to this, so I know what to look for, I know what to ask for. So our mushrooms are cultivated in China at chaga, because chaga has to come from a live tree, and they are heavy metal tested as well, and they're growing on wood, which is what you want. The reason being is because this is a little bit convoluted, but a lot of people, you'll find companies, they might provide something called mycelium. So
Mm-hmm.
mycelium is like the root structure of the mushroom, and it does have benefits in and of itself. Paul Stamets himself, he often talks about, you know, the mycelium is where it's at as far as, you know, beneficial actions go. I kind of think that a lot of the research is saying it's the fruiting body. So that's the actual mushroom fruit. So we
Mm-hmm.
use the mushroom fruit, and we grow it on wood. So mushrooms are supposed to be grown on wood. A lot of people will grow them on grain, and then they'll mulch up that grain, and it kind of artificially ups the amount of what's called glucans in it. So you get this product that looks like it's got heaps of glucans in it, really good for your immune system, but a lot of that is coming from the grain. So we want to make sure that all of the beta glucans are coming from the mushroom body rather than from a grain mix that it's growing on.
Totally. Thank you. See, and you can tell like the source, once you understand where your source and you're comfortable with where you're sourcing it from, it doesn't matter where it's coming from, because like you say, you're asking the right questions, and there is a whole Asia China phobia, but you know what you're doing and you know how to source it.
Exactly. And I think, a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, you should be sourcing it from the USA or from New Zealand or from wherever. And I'm like, well, in Australia and in New Zealand, they don't really cultivate enough to be able to provide the volumes that we need. And B, I have complete trust in our supplier, and they've given me all the documentation that I require. And all the heavy metal testing that we do. So, I'm quite comfortable with it.
And can I
said, they've been cultivating for such a long time.
Can I ask you one more question? You might not know this, and this is fine, but in Wellington especially, I see a lot of clients with mold toxicity. And so often people go, oh, mushrooms are a fungus, which they are, totally agree. But there is research coming out that the fungus will eat the mushroom fungus will eat the mold fungus in the body. Do you know anything about that, or would that be a concern for you in terms of it feeding the mold in the body?
Oh, absolutely not. So they're antifungal. That's the thing. Like, people freak out about, oh no, I've got candida, or I can't have mushrooms, but they do tend to be immune stimulants as well. So they'll actually help your immune system to identify and kill off those opportunistic molds and yeasts that you don't want. Particularly chaga, and if you had any kind of candida or yeast type infections, definitely chaga. But no, I mean, some naturopaths will still say, no, you shouldn't have mushrooms. But look, I've got a friend who is going on a mold protocol, and she still has chaga every day, and it hasn't upset her at all. So, that's an N of one, but, it's definitely helpful for those who have candida type infections.
Definitely. And so I've been telling everyone that they can get your products from Common Sense. Where are the other places, if they're based in Wellington or further abroad than Wellington, where can we get your products from?
So in Wellington, we have the lovely ladies at Wellington Apothecary, who are some lovely friends of ours. So they stock our products, and they've got our full range as well. Common Sense Organics has our blends. So there'll be Common Sense Organics in Wakefield Street and in Kapiti, and then up in Kapiti as well, we've got Piccolo Cafe, and Jo is amazing. She loves our stuff. We're going to be doing a talk up there as well. But then Health Post online, Huckleberry as well. Lots of stores. We've got a stockist list on our website.
Can you buy direct
online
from your web? Yeah, can we buy direct from you, like from your website?
Yes, you can. So our website is just Misty Day Plant Potions. Yeah.
Perfect. And I'll post it in the comments for everyone too.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, Rachel. Thank you for talking about your products and sharing your knowledge and your love of them and the inspiration behind them.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely talking to you too.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. You
See
too.
you. Bye.
Bye.